We rushed him over to do a test at Silverstone, and I clearly remember the race engineer in charge of the programme at the time ringing over to the factory to me, and he said, look, there's a problem here. They've either changed the circuit or he's found a shortcut, because this is ridiculous. He's doing times that we've never seen before.
This reminds me of the great Ayrton Senna.
This man has taken Formula One to a new level.
What do you mean by greatest? He's won the most world championships, so he must be.
Not only is he the best racing driver of all time, I'm struggling to find anyone greater in the whole world of global sport.
If we're to measure greatness in Formula One simply by the number of wins, Michael Schumacher has eclipsed the rest, and he's not slowing down.
For me, it's the pure pleasure of racing and competing, and that's why I can't imagine a time when to stop. A lot of people ask me, when is the time, and I've achieved so much. No, I have not, and any time I'm home, I'm getting back on my bike, I'm getting back in the gym. It's all so natural, it's all so much fun.
Winning even as many races you have done, is it still like winning for the first time? Because that's what it appears.
In a way, there is races, it is like this, and there's other races it isn't, and that's why I said it's never the same. But it's still the greatest thing, except the family, obviously, the private life. What I want to do.
Are you an optimist or a pessimist?
I'm both, and it's funny because I become both whenever it's needed, whatever is needed. I adapt myself.
Because you, in a sense, never thought you'd make it in Formula One somehow. So I'm wondering whether you're surprised that you're still doing so well and you're still near the top for, what, 13 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a surprise, and it is nowhere near to expect this up front. And in this sense, I'm a pessimist, and I'm rather be nicely surprised than badly disappointed by having too high expectations.
Schumacher began by racing karts in Germany. His reputation grew with success in sports cars, but the ultimate challenge was winning in Formula One. His opportunity came out of the blue, when the Jordan team needed a driver as a last-minute replacement.
I'd seen him in the wet, I'd seen him in the dry, I'd got the videos back from previous races, and he was one of the guys who was very cool and calm. He was also very collected in terms of the way he wanted to approach the race. But there are a lot of drivers in that mould, so it was nothing really exceptional at that stage until I actually needed a driver. And an interesting thing at the time, the sport had been desperate to find a German driver, because it was the one, if you like, region, the one country we could never penetrate, because saloon cars and sports cars were the really thing to be involved with in Germany. And when Michael put 25,000 extra people on the gate at Spa by just being German, Bernie realised, hey, from an administration point of view, from a financial, commercial point of view, we must have a German driver in Formula One. And I believe he was contributory in the fact of getting him into Benetton at that stage, because it was not sure whether Jordan could survive.
Schumacher found himself in a car capable of challenging for the championship. The world was about to witness an extraordinary driving talent. The world was also about to see, for the first time, just how badly Michael Schumacher wanted to win.
I think he's ruthless. He's ruthless because that is a fundamental ingredient of a quality sports person. If they have that brutal, hard, do it at all costs, that has to be there to form the ultimate greatness.
All I have to do is get past Michael. It's going to be very, very interesting.
If you win on Sunday, you'll be a new king of Germany, the first one.
We talk about this on Sunday evening.
That looks, Schumacher's off. Schumacher's lost time.
Yeah.
Hill goes by.
Oh, out goes Schumacher. The German is out of the Australian Grand Prix. And if Damon Hill has to retire and you see smoke pouring off the wheel, that will mean that Schumacher will be world champion. What an incredible development.
Hill shaking his head. He knows in his heart of hearts that it is all over.
Michael Schumacher scarcely able to believe his luck. is, I think, unashamedly weeping tears of joy and happiness.
The biggest love I have is motorsport, and if you think that Formula One is the highest performance you can perform in, and the biggest challenge, and if you then win, there's nothing greater than that. If you do it in a team which you feel is your family, it just is all so perfect that sometimes you think, well, is that really true, what the life you live at the moment? And then if you do win, you just be excited. It's so much work, it's so much concentration, it's so much effort to finally achieve this. Why should you be feeling sad?
What is the perfect race then? Is it romping to the flag when no one comes near you? Or is it fighting wheel to wheel with cars and a lot of talking on the radio, a lot of input from the pit wall?
It varies. I remember, I think it was 95 in Spa, I started 16s and I managed to win the race.
Hakkinen tries to get past Berger, who blocks him, but Alesi takes the lead and Johnny Herbert moves ahead of Gerhard Berger.
You go through the field, you fight yourself through. In a way it wasn't a perfect race, but it was great fun.
And look at Schumacher coming up through the field now, because Michael Schumacher is up into 5th position. This reminds me of the great Ayrton Senna, who had this same gift.
Coming back to 3rd place, going through the field, fighting your way forward, it's just fantastic.
Despite being up against superior machinery, Schumacher won back-to-back Drivers' Championships with Benetton. Time to move on to a new challenge. Schumacher's next move would lead to a new history of Formula One, a partnership so complete as to appear at times invincible.
I believe you can only say that Ferrari is the best team of motorsport by a long way. That's pretty certain. I'm not a great person concerning knowledge of history from Formula One, but in a way, if you think on what there is, then you have to say Ferrari is the best what Formula One ever had.
Nobody this year will win the title unless they're in a Ferrari, and it's the way Formula One is. You know, it's not just down to the drivers. It's not like like running or football, just down to the players. It's very different. We have a lot of machinery. It's a very big team effort. We're obviously the figurehead for the team, and we're the person that makes it happen, but we need the equipment to be able to do that. And Michael has the equipment. For whatever reason, he's obviously put in a lot of hard work himself, and he's got a fantastic team around him, and he's in a winning car.
What about the argument that it's more machine than man? So what is it that Michael Schumacher brings to a car and a team?
Well, if you say that, if you say that the car is much more important than the driver, then if that's the case, well, can I have Michael Schumacher, please? Because, why do people pay him the money that they pay him? And people say, how come he wins? Generally, there's a rule of thumb, the best driver winds up in the best car. He has made the Ferrari what it is as an individual. Of course, there are other individuals who have equally helped to make that happen, but he was the driving force.